How you doing today, folks? Today I want to show you this Rubbermaid utility cart I got, and I'm not sure if this is going to be a 1 or 2 part video. First I want to talk about it, and then I want to show you how I put it together. This is what they call a medium duty utility cart, so the carrying capacity is 500 pounds, but they also make a smaller one, and then they make a bigger one as well. The big one, man, you're going to need something pretty big to use. And this cart, you can't see it, but it's got 2 shelves, and the cart I ordered actually has pneumatic casters. I do have a gravel driveway where I'll often work on my truck, and I thought it'd be nice to have the pneumatic casters. The feature that I really like about this cart, and the reason I got it, is because it's got this handle right here. Usually when I see utility carts, the handle is down lower, and you're kind of like hunched over to push it around. Well, with this higher handle, it's right where you want it, and it's just a pleasure to push. The cart has a little area here for tools, and I'll show you that closer later, but it's got like a hole in the middle here where I've just got this drill here for now, and then it's got a little tray for some other tools. It's got a spot in the handle right here which is designed for a utility knife, and then it has a wrap on this side for extension cords. You could hang extension cords on this side as well, but there is room for pliers or a pair of scissors and 1 screwdriver or something else. They put a lot of holes in the sides of the cart, so you could put some threaded rod in there and a couple nuts, and then put some wiring on there, some tape, paper towels, whatever you need. You can get a little trash can to go on the front of this cart. It's not cheap, but if I'm out working on my car, I'm usually, there'd usually be some paper towels somewhere, and I'm usually, making dirty paper towels or opening parts and have little things to throw away. So it would be nice, whether it's the Rubbermaid garbage can or something just hang a 5-gallon bucket on the front, it would be nice to have the garbage can. So this again is the medium cart, and I just want to show you that the shelf here, well, the length of the cart is 44 inches, give or take, and the shelf here is actually, the inside dimensions are 36 exactly of this shelf, and then the inside dimensions headed this way are just a little over 24. So you're basically getting a 3-foot by 2-foot shelf, upper and lower shelf. Weight capacity of this cart is 500 pounds. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video to Amazon where I got this. The last time I checked, they weren't actually selling this model, but I'll try to find this model somewhere and see if I can link to it. They make some really nice carts in a smaller size or this size without the pneumatic casters if you're not going to be outside, with this really cool handle. I mean, this right here just told me that this was the cart I wanted. This cart has fixed casters in the front, and then the casters in the back you can actually rotate. So, I mean, this cart can get around in some pretty tight areas, and you can do whatever you want. There's a carpet on the floor back here, but because I got the bigger casters, I can just go right over it. It went together fairly easily. But one thing, when I start the video, I talk about just using a regular screwdriver, screw it together. The plastic is so tough that I started to get some blisters on my hands. So I do recommend using a drill to put it together. But one thing I'd recommend is to make sure you use a drill that limits the torque, so you don't spin the screws too much and strip out the holes. It's a heavy-duty plastic, but you don't want to strip out the holes. But let's go ahead and show you guys how we put this cart together. It's a pretty good sized box. The box is 26 inches wide, 44.5 inches long, about 9 inches deep. There's assembly directions right over here. I love this handle. Really like the way that works. Drill recommended for assembly. And there is our shelf. These are the casters, and they're definitely the heaviest part. And then here's the other shelf. This must be This is the top shelf. We'll just cut the directions off. So these are all the parts you get. You've got your top shelf, your bottom shelf, your 4 supports for the top shelf. We've got our handle here, and then they give you 2 swiveling casters and 2 straight casters. They don't swivel, and I know it makes a difference how you put them on with how easy the cart is to move, but I don't know which is which, so we'll check the directions on that one. And these are full pneumatic casters, so there is an area here to put air in them, and I'm going to go ahead and give them a good shot of air. It says maximum load 300 pounds at 50 psi, so we'll put these up at 50 psi. And this is the reason I got this cart, is because I wanted these big casters. If I was going to be using this cart on just concrete, I'd be perfectly fine with the regular casters. But these big mammy jammies are going to allow me to go over the grass, go over the lip of the garage, go over gravel, anywhere in my yard very easily. So that's why I got this cart. Plus, I wanted the bigger size. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my hardware bag. We're just going to cut it open, and I'm going to put it in a magnetic tray here so I don't have to sort through all the hardware. And then the first thing they want us to do is flip over the lower shelf and put these on. There's no way it goes like that, is there? So based on the picture, they're showing this longer end coming down. Am I this bad at putting these things together? Oh. I am this bad. This is where the casters go. So on the lower shelf, these slide right in just like that. Not a big deal at all. They don't seem to be threading through. Oh. If you line them up right, they thread through very nicely. Don't take your rubber mallet and just start wailing on these things until you've triple checked you got them lined up right. And then they want us to put a screw in each of these. All the kit comes with is a bunch of these screws and a bunch of these washers. I counted the washers, and there's 16 of them, which is the exact number I'd need to install the casters. So I am not going to use washers except when I install the casters. And then we're just going to go ahead and put the screws in to these pieces here. And I am not going to use my drill from the get-go. I'm going to make sure I got them lined up right. And then just go ahead. And I could switch to the drill now, but it's really not that bad to screw this down. And I want to be careful I don't make it over tight and strip it out. So I'm feeling resistance, and I'm going to stop about there. So you can see how that's moving. That's all become one piece. And I think for this build, I am not going to use the drill, because it would be very easy with a drill to strip this out. If I was going to use a drill, I'd set it to the lowest torque setting and then finish up the screws by hand. What they want us to do now is flip over the top piece and then take the piece we just put together back here and place it on top. And it looks like it doesn't really matter which way this one goes on. There are some marks to line up with, some holes. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing. There's one screw that goes in each corner to hold these two pieces together. I'm going to go ahead and top off all these tires, making sure that they're at 50 psi. The two casters that don't rotate go on the front of the cart. That way you can kind of swing the back of the cart to adjust its position. I did switch to a drill because I started to get like a blister on my hand. After 8 screws, I got a blister. But I do have, this is a Milwaukee M12. I've got it on the screw setting, and my torque is set to 8. So I'm not going to just, go nuts on this. And what I'm going to do, I've got the washers on the screws, is I'm going to just get these on, but not super snug. I'm leaving a little bit of space between the screw and the caster. Once I get all the screws in, I can then go back and snug them down. And these screws, I don't know what size they are, but the head of them is very big. I don't think this is a number 2. If you look at this screwdriver, this is not your normal screwdriver. So just be aware of that. You may have to go buy a different size screwdriver or a bit for your drill to put these screws in. And then the last thing I want to point out is you got the valve stem here. You might as well install these casters so the valve stem is pointing out if you have the pneumatic tires. And then let's see if we can just go back and make sure these guys are nice and snug, but not stripped. All right, so on 8 we're already so let's try 12. All right, and I really don't want to screw these up, so I'm going to go ahead and put some leather gloves on so I don't get blisters. And then go ahead and hand tighten. That one's good. Good. I don't know if I have a longer screwdriver. The back ones will be a little bit easier because you can move the caster. You can rotate the caster to the best spot possible. But you might need a really long screwdriver. I wish I had one a touch longer. And the swivel casters on the back actually have Zerks on them too, so you can grease them. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and install all these casters and then we'll be back. The last step is to go ahead and put this handle on, and that just goes right over here. And then there are 4 screws to hold that on. And I've gone to the point where we're just using the drill now. Now you know why drills have lights on them. It's a pretty handy feature. And that should do it. Okay, we had no leftover parts. That's always a good sign. I just want you to look at this handle. I mean, this handle is the reason I got the cart. I was at a local hardware store and they had one of these, and normally you have to you're kind of doing this like hunched grab of the handle down here. And this one, boy, it is just like right where you want it to be, and I love that. And I love the fact that it's a nice big cart. I got plenty of room. You know, I'm going to put it in my garage right over here by this window. There's just enough room if I move a couple of my fans here, my ash can, it'll be right there, so whenever I need it, it'll be ready to go. My wife put a whole bunch of stuff she had there for her Christmas party. So we got some weight put on. Maybe some weight will make a difference. I mean, I guess that gives you an idea of the capacity of the thing. It's funny, it actually does work. It works better with weight on it. Let me just show you the handle here. So this is the handle I was talking about, how awesome that is. And then you've got, in the middle of the cart here, you've got room for a drill or something in the middle there. And then you've also got this little tray down here, you know, where you can put some tools. And then you've got a holder here for an extension cord. And then over here you've got a holder for scissors, pliers, and a screwdriver, whatever. And there is a bottom shelf as well down there too. So plenty of space there. And you've got the holes in there where you can put some threaded rod or any type of rod if you want to hold other stuff on the cart as well. And I really like the generous size. Again, I think I said it's, you know, inside the shelf, it's 3 feet long and 2 feet wide. So I do want to show you guys this cool cart I got just about a year ago, and I've been using it more as a table than a cart. But what I do is I put all my jacking stuff and my wood blocks, and I have a mat I keep on the bottom, and my bucket for sitting on and putting brake calipers on. I have a cool knee pad here, and then I keep my, my tools. When the job starts, all I do is keep my ratchets here. And then as I use tools, I just throw them on the cart. And this way, when I'm done, as I take them off the cart, I clean them and put them away. And it's really nice because I don't end up putting all my tools on the ground, and it then takes me more effort to pick them up off the ground and they get dirty. But, I made a little custom paper towel holder here. I keep my grease gun on the cart. There's enough room for a bag back here. This is the handle for my jack, so I know where my jack handle is all the time. And I do keep the gloves and the magnetic tray here as well. But just to have a table, if this was an oil change, I'd put all my oils, it'd be a lot less tools. But with jobs like this, I really like this cart for the ability to just have a mobile table. And this is larger, this is the medium-sized cart, and I also got the pneumatic tires on it. You can never have too much room for storage, so this thing is great for when I'm working on stuff, and then I keep it by the garage door when it's clean, and if I want to just bring something inside, like if I have groceries, bring them inside the door, put them on the cart, and do that as well. And I only put one hole in it so far to mount this holder for my knee pad. I'm trying to keep it as sparse as possible because I really want this cart to be the spot to put stuff, as I'm working on a job. For the top shelf, bottom shelf jacking and such.